Audrey Rodríguez live at Prenup Field in Boulder, Colorado as the CU women's soccer team take on Oklahoma State. The score is now 1-0 Buffs early in the first quarter. Stay tuned for a halftime report. When the weather's not suitable outside, the University of Colorado football team comes here to the indoor practice facilities to improve on their game. Audrey Rodríguez in Boulder, Colorado at Folsom Field on a chilly Saturday night as the number 9 Colorado Buffaloes look on to take the number 12 Utah Utes. If the Buffs get a victory in this game, they could be headed to Santa Rosa next Friday for the Pac-12 championship game. On Folsom Field, if you would have been here a minute ago, all the students came down and stormed the field as the Colorado Buffaloes beat the Utah Utes 27-22, which means the Buffs are now headed into the Pac-12 championship game next Friday in Santa Clara, California. The University of Colorado Buffaloes football team sports 4 different outfits throughout the season. However, the one you'll see them wearing the most at home is the classic black and gold. If you are one of the few CU students staying on campus this spring break, why not pay a visit to some of these businesses? Because I guarantee you, there will be no lines. 24 hours in Aaron's day is usually not enough. Aaron Hagler is a 2-sport athlete in the competitive Pac-12 conference. Finding a happy medium between athletics and academics is difficult, particularly when your sport comes first.
I had to eat lunch on the way to my next class, so that was kind of challenging.
According to a Penn Berlin survey, 54% of athletes say they do not have enough time to study for tests, and 80% of Pac-12 students say they have missed a class for competition.
People think it's so nice to miss class, but it's awful because then you're responsible for all that work.
Some student athletes suggest having a sports psychologist help them manage their time and stress. Chris Bader, the counseling and sports psychologist for CU Athletics, helps student athletes find ways to deal with the pressure.
If they have a big game coming up, a conference game, a conference matchup, and it happens to be one of those weeks where they have 2 or 3 exams, it just compounded stress.
Student athletes are defined by their sport. It takes perseverance, passion, and a whole lot of motivation in order to get your name immortalized in a trophy case. But student athletes serve 2 masters, academics and athletics, and finding a way to balance the 2 is easier said than done. Mindy Scarlo, the Associate Director for Academics for CU Athletics, helps student athletes with time management.
To make sure that students really have access to all the resources that they need, but sometimes that's just spending time to figure out how to be most efficient with your time.
71% of student athletes say sleep is the #1 thing that their athletic time commitments prevent them from doing, ultimately hindering their athletic and academic performance. Some athletes report waking up at 5 a.m. to get to practice on time, and then staying up as late as 11 p.m. for evening practices and to finish up their homework, and attend virtual tutoring sessions.
There's a lot of reward when you look over your shoulder and you say, oh geez, I really accomplished a lot.
A busy schedule also leaves no room for procrastination. Reporting for News Team Boulder, I'm Audrey Rodríguez. Star wide receiver Bryce Bobo is enjoying a season that's full of SportsCenter highlights. But it's his past that's made him into the man he is today.
When I was 4 years old, my biological dad was murdered by my stepbrother. Growing up without a dad was probably the biggest thing that affected me as a kid. I was in different types of therapy, anger management classes, just because I didn't know how to express myself and what had happened growing up.
Bryce was just 4 years old when he began to play football. The field was where he found his biggest mentors, who helped him through these dark and difficult times.
Football and basketball really just came such big sports to me growing up, because that's what I would find my mentors at. And I would find those father figures that also had their sons on the team and knew my story and, would take me under their wing
Audrey Rodríguez reporting live from Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado, where Bryce Bobo comes to play a sport that's gotten him through the hard times.
That moment when the ball's in the air just coming straight to you, you know, it just, I guess it kind of gives me that adrenaline rush.
Colorado defensive back Tedrick Thompson grew up with Bobo, and to this day, they call each other brothers.
We've been through a lot of up and downs since we've been here. You know, we talk to each other about family situations. You know, he's talked to me, I've talked to him, so we're extremely close. He's like a little brother to me. Growing up, we was always around gangs and stuff like that. But I think my mom did a good job of making sure we was around it, but making sure we wasn't in it. She always put us in football, always in some type of after-school program, so we won't have to deal with it.
Thompson has helped lead the Buffaloes to a Pac-12 South title. Colorado has not won a conference title game since 2001.
You know how like when you're in elementary school and your teacher would give you like that paper and be like, what do you want to be when you're older? I'd always put either I wanted to be a fireman or I wanted to be an NFL football player. And so like, you know, being this close to my dream is kind of, is just it's a blessing.
After beating the Utah Utes this past Saturday, the Buffs are headed to the Pac-12 championship game, where Bryce and Tedrick will be standing shoulder to shoulder in brotherhood.
Reporting for News Team Boulder, I'm Audrey Rodríguez.
Many know Stephanie Shadley as a star volleyball player.
I think it's important for all of our kids to have a well-rounded experience, at the collegiate level.
I'm here at Coors Event Center at the University of Colorado Boulder, where the majority of time you can find Stephanie Shadley here improving on her volleyball skills. However, when she's not here, there's another arena you're bound to find her.
So the first time I got on a horse was, I think I was about like 3 or 4. We were in Colorado and we used to go on little trail rides and stuff, and that's where my passion kind of began. I guess you could say being from Texas has a little bit of something to do with it. I think it's really important being a college athlete to do something outside of the gym or outside of the field, because you're practicing every single day and it gets to be a lot.
It was just last year that Shadley was recovering from her broken ankle.
I think horse therapy is a true thing. I seriously believe in that.
I think it's great that Steph's found that for herself.
Shadley's hobby is central to her identity, thus urges all athletes to find an outlet outside of their sport.
It's just nice to relax and do something that I love.
Ashley Schmid is always searching for a parking spot. Sometimes the search goes on and on. Like thousands of CU students, Ashley is often worried about finding a parking spot on campus.
It started to become a problem though when I would get to campus and drive up and down the garage where I have my parking pass and I couldn't find a spot.
Ashley is a junior who studies English and education at CU. She lives off campus and commutes about 15 minutes each way each day.
And I thought that it would be efficient to know that I would have a spot waiting for me when I got to campus, and then I could just hop on out and run to class.
With rising demand comes rising costs. Ashley paid over $400 for a parking pass.
I'm standing here at the parking garage off of Regent. Now, parking here and all over CU's campus is very hard to come by. Last year, students were on a wait list. There were about 1,600 of them waiting for a parking pass on a campus that doesn't have enough room.
We always sell out of parking. We've never been able to quantify the demand until actually this past year. We had 1,400 people on our wait list to get parking passes that we did not have the capacity for.
Adding more parking spaces isn't easy.
This campus will not let us move with just parking. So if I say I need a garage, it's going to have to be in unison with the building.
All hope to try to secure a parking spot is not lost. Tom notes that he has many plans in place to create new parking structures in the near future.
Now I won't have to deal with it as much because I'm graduating, but if I were here again next year, I would not buy a parking pass again because they just keep getting more expensive, and there's no promise that I would even get a parking spot.
Reporting for News Team Boulder, I'm Audrey Rodríguez.
A list of schools, including CU Boulder, tend to visit white and wealthier schools for academic recruiting. Over the past decade, many states have cut funding for higher education, forcing public universities to become more dependent on tuition revenue. The New York Times found that public universities responded by enrolling more out-of-state students.
And it totally seems like they're recruiting, middle class, upper class, white students just for profit.
School officials believe that this is just part of the process.
For out of state, that's something, we have to do because we have very low state funding for higher ed, and so we go out of state to attract students.
College and universities tend to avoid visiting schools in poor areas, even when those schools had a large number of students who had performed well on tests, which makes this process more about searching for money, not diversity. If colleges are serious about increasing the racial diversity, they should be looking everywhere for merit, not just the white and wealthy communities. Reporting for News Team Boulder, I'm Audrey Rodríguez.
Is News Team Boulder.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Audrey Rodríguez. I've got lots of local news to share with you, so let's get started. Eating disorders can affect people of all ages and genders, however, especially prevalent on college campuses. Snowball fights at the Vatican sounds like a fun but cold time, Brendan.
Yes, that does sound like a lot of fun, but what is even more fun is having the Buffs win. Sports coming up next.
The 2018 Winter Olympics came to a close Sunday with a spectacular closing ceremony. Let's take a look at how the U.S. did in the medal count. Everyone, my name is Audrey Rodríguez with your weather update. We have a lot of breaking weather news in store for you, so grab your coffee and stay attentive. Currently, we're experiencing a comfortable 54 degrees with a few clouds scattered in the sky, so take advantage of the outdoors. Looking around Colorado, I spy warmer weather, a huge temperature rise compared to earlier this week. Now Pueblo and Trinidad are in the middle 60s, and Boulder and Fort Collins are at a comfortable 60 degrees.